بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: نظر الله امرأ سمع منا شيئا فبلغه كما سمعه فرب مبلغ أوعى من سامع، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers, elders, mothers and sisters and listeners, amongst the contradictions of modern day liberation is the vocal condemnation of religious extremism, yet the passionate promotion of entertainment extremism. I'll repeat what I said. Amongst the contradictions of modern day liberation is the vocal condemnation of religious extremism, yet the passionate promotion of entertainment extremism. It is considered a crime and an offense to overstep the mark in your religious and moral obligation, and you are asked to take it slowly when blasphemous comments are made against a Nabi. You're overreacting. Don't get personal about the issue. Yet you are at liberty to transcend the boundaries of morality, humanity and sanity in the spirit of merrymaking. What a tragedy. How unfortunate the word moderate only comes to mind when you're speaking of religion. We're speaking of the moderate follower, the moderate religion, and this word disappears into thin air when it comes to the aspect of entertainment and indulgence. There are rules and constitutions to govern your religious freedom. I wonder if there are any laws that govern the limits and the parameters of entertainment, and if they are they implemented? Be it as it may, a quotation of Luqman alayhi salam comes to mind, and he said, ثَلَاثٌ مَنْ كُنَّ فِيهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَكْمَلَ الْإِيمَانِ. If a person enjoys three traits, three qualities, he has been privileged with the sweetness of Iman. Number one, مَنْ إِذَا رَضِيَ لَمْ يُخْرِجْهُ رِضَاهُ إِلَى الْبَاطِلِ. A person who in the heart of happiness, joy, excitement, whether it is a wedding in the family, it's a new arrival, you're moving into a new shop, you're going abroad, whatever the spirit of joy is, you do not venture into sin, you do not trespass the boundaries in your spirit of rejoicing, and you do not disobey Allah. So even in the pinnacle of joy and in the height of excitement, whether you are gripped with jubilation for whatever reason it is, you do not indulge in sin, vice and transgression. Number two, man idha ghadiba lam yukhrijhu ghadabuhu min al-haqqi. When a person becomes angry, in English they say, he who angers you conquers you. You understand your limitations and you conduct yourself within reason, and these were the profound qualities of the Sahaba. The famous incident in Bukhari Sharif where a person comes in the presence of Umar radiyallahu anhu, and then he starts using offensive language, and Umar radiyallahu anhu becomes emotionally offended. وَكَانَ وَقَّافًا عِنْدَ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. And someone read the verse, خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأَمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. That, O Umar, adopt pardon and overlook the ignorant. And those present said, instantly we seen how calmness returned to Umar. Instantly how calmness returned to Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu anhu. So number one, enjoy. As Muslims, we believe moderation is necessary on all fronts. We might differ, and yes, we do differ on the definition of moderation. Like I often say, we join the slogan of the liberation of women, but we differ openly on the methodology. So we also believe, because today it is kalimatu haqqin urida biha al-batil, noble slogans with evil agendas. In terms of the campaign and the logo and the slogan of liberating women, Yes, of course, we believe in this here, we promote it, but we differ openly with the manner in which and the definition of promoting and liberating women. So moderation is definitely essential, but in all spheres of life, likewise in entertainment. There was an article in the Sunday Times, and if you read it, you know what I'm speaking about. I don't want to go into too much detail. But the long and short of that was, come and meet the 11 greatest sinners of football history. This is what the article read. It was now, just recently, this last week. Meet the 11 greatest sinners. And obviously with a sense of pride, amongst the many guys who are being idolized and honored by the broader world, and many of the youth pride themselves with that t-shirt and pride themselves with that image and that covered. In an interview he said he had bedded more than 700 women. Amongst them one was guilty of bestiality. Now these are harsh realities, and I'm not, pulling it out from alternate media. It was carried by mainstream media. Meet the 11 greatest sinners in football history. Imagine society condones the idolization of such individuals. So the second thing is that in anger you do not trespass the limits. And the third thing is, من إذا قدر لم يتناول ما ليس له. A person in authority does not exploit and abuse his authority. So he does not usurp anything that does not belong to him. And this is a very, very critical juncture. If a person can conduct himself with respect and dignity in authority, then honestly this man has the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We often ask the question with no answer, who will guard the guardians? Who will police the policemen? The guardian will take care. There is a camera. It's been recorded. It's been videoed. But who will fear in the absence of the camera and the absence of the policeman, and when there's no guardian, it calls for taqwa. When a man has authority, Sayyidina Luqman alayhi salam told his son, إِذَا دَعَتْكَ قُدْرَتُكَ عَلَى ظُلْمِ النَّاسِ فَتَذَكَّرْ قُدْرَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ. Oh my son, when your authority provokes you, incites you to exploit, to abuse, to usurp, then just give yourself a fresh reminder, Allah has million times more authority over you. When you're on the verge to retrench, for unexplained reasons, then remember Allah can retrench you off the face of this earth. When you want to fire, or whatever you want to do, you want to abuse your authority, فَتَذَكَّرْ قُدْرَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ. The very famous hadith, Abu Mas'ud Badri radiyallahu anhu says, I was with my slave and I was admonishing him and rebuking him, and then Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam screamed out from the rear, and he said, لَاللَّهُ أَقْدَرُ عَلَيْكَ مِنْكَ عَلَى هَذَا الْغُلَامِ. Remember, Allah has more authority and access and control over you than you have over your slave. And when I turned, I was obviously humbled. It was the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And I said, هُوَ حُرٌّ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. Can I then compensate and atone for my mistake by liberating him? Nabi alayhi salam said, أَمَا لَوْ لَمْ تَفْعَلْ لَلَفَحَتْكَ النَّارِ. The choice is yours, but if you don't liberate him, hell won't leave you. So these are the three sentiments of Sayyidina Luqman in the spirit of joy and excitement. How often you would find a religious family, Allah conscious family, moral family, but in the spirit of wedding, they trespass the limits. And they violate the orders of Allah, and they lose it for the minute. How often don't you see a person who is very dignified and respectful? It was brought to my notice recently, and I really could not conceive and I could not comprehend this here. A person for whom I had utmost respect, but he basically went to a hair salon, a regular barber, and obviously some people are very meticulous about the manner in which the hair is cut. And I happened to come in at that time. The vulgarity that man was blurting, I could not expect that from the worst of disbelievers, only to know this man was a regular musalli in the masjid. Now in anger, how many people lose themselves? They literally lose their balance and their composure. Anyway, to focus with our event today, there is an incident mentioned in Nafhatul Arab about a person by the name of Uwaiqis Makhzumi. كان من أقبح الناس خلقة. A person who lacked physical beauty. So one day his mom sat him down. And this is something very important. Today being Youth Day, interaction. And there's something that I read the other day that really left me thinking, and I mentioned it just recently. There was a father and son workshop. So I was invited to speak there, and I sat there. And I must mention that I was one of the speakers, and one of the speakers was also Brother Rafiq from the rehab. And he brought tears to our eyes. He said, brothers, this is a harsh reality. We had a youngster come into our rehab this year who was popping 250 pills a day. These were his words. We had a youngster come into our rehab who was popping 250 pills a day, 15 per hour. One of the important things to understand in communicating with our children, they say it is like a dial-in code. Speaking to a child is like phoning. If you're missing one digit, you don't get through. Sometimes you got all the numbers in line, but the code is wrong. You know, we argue, but I told him this, but it's just not breaking through. And when I read this, it really hit me. It made perfect sense to me. Is the code right? Is the network not busy? Because if the network is busy, then you know what, the code is right, but you're not getting through. The signal is low. The network has to be right. The signal has to be correct. The number has to be correct. And then hopefully, like Maulana Shabir Ahmad Uthmani rahmatullah alayhi said, and I read this in the footnotes of Tafsir Uthmani, the correct statement, motivated with the correct intention, presented with the correct desire, is sure to have a profound impact. So the mother sat her son down and he said, إِنَّكَ خُلِقْتَ خِلْقَةً لَا تَصْلُحُ مَعَهَا لِمُجَالَسَةِ الْفِتْيَانِ فعليك بالدين فإن الله يرفع به الخسيس ويتم به النقيص فنفعني الله بكلامها فوليت القضاء. My mother sat me down one day, he is saying Uwaiqis Makhzumi, and my mother said, listen my son, by the decree of Allah you don't have physical beauty. I love you as a son. You are my son and I love you. And then I've often shared this on a lighter note. Maybe I'll share it again. Mufti Sahib, I think, gave us a sufficient dose of lightheartedness, but it's always refreshing. They say the three dreams of a man. The three dreams of a man. He wished he was as handsome as his mother thinks. As handsome as his mother thinks. As rich as his child believes. And had as many women as his wife suspects. Any person you're speaking to obviously creates a bit of concern and turbulence and raises eyeballs. So I often say, if a man can speak to his wife as polite as he speaks to strange women, and the woman can speak to her husband as polite as she can speak to her son, then inshallah those marriages will hold. She's yelling at you, and next minute, my bachu, my darling, what you'll eat? I'm like, what was this now? What a polite, passionate, humble request. And, on the other hand, and the same thing if I apply, I'm having a business call, yes, I can meet with you, we can consider options, we can meet. And yes, when I'm speaking to my wife, what happens is the direct opposite. So the mother set the son down. What I'm saying, communication. We have to sit down and speak, and it's a dial-in code. Are all the digits in place? Are the code correct? Are we reaching one another? Is the message making an impact or not? Listen, my son, you lack physical beauty, and I doubt the youth and the peers would like to assimilate with you. I'm telling you, the secret out for you is you'll become a celebrity without beauty. You'll become a celebrity without wealth. Hold deen firm. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْفَعُ بِهِ الْخَسِيسَ وَيُتِمُّ بِهِ النَّقِيسَ. Allah will perfect the defected. Look at the words of the mother. Allah will perfect the defected. And Allah will promote the downtrodden by virtue of this deen. فَنَفَعَنِي اللَّهُ بِكَلَامِهَا. The young Uwaiqis said, the words of my mother hit home. فَوَلِّيتُ الْقَضَاء. Allah brought that day that I'm the official judge of Makkah Mukarramah. Now I just want to elucidate that theory and unpack it further. Amongst the giants that feature in the field of Islamic jurisprudence and the great scholars, one was the caliber of Ata ibn Abi Rabah, rahimahullah. For the record, he lacked what it took to make a man a celebrity. He lacked physical beauty, he lacked social standing, he lacked appearance, he lacked features, he lacked wealth. Nay, many say he was a'war, he was one-eyed, he was ashal, he was paralyzed, he was mufalfalu sha'ri, he had curled hair. Sufficient in his profile that he features amongst the teachers of Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh. He features amongst the mentors of Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh said, مَا رَأَيْتُ أَفْقَهْ مِنْ حَمَّادٍ وَلَا أَجْمَعْ لِلْعُلُومِ مِنْ عَطَاءٍ. From my tutors, I did not find someone who was more acquainted with jurisprudence than Hammad rahimahullah. And I never met anyone who had imbibed in his bosom more sciences of Islam than the caliber of Ata. It was the 95th year, Sanata, or the 97th year, Sanata 97 للهجرة, the month of Dhul Hijjah. وهذا البيت العتيق يموج بالوافدين على الله من كل فج مشاة وركبانا شيوخا وشبانا رجالا ونساء. And there is this influx of people coming from every part of the world. As the Quran says, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. People will come from far and wide, and they will come on lean camels. When we went for Hajj, then we went with Ethiopian Airlines. So I said, this is the lean camels of today. وَعَلَى كُلِّ min kulli fajjin amiq. They will come from far and wide. So there is this influx of people from the entire world. Mushatan wa rukbanan. Some are walking, some are mounted. Shuyukhan wa shubbanan, age and young. فيهم الأسود والأبيض والعربي والعجمي. The Arab and the non-Arab. والسيد والمسود. The king and the subject. لَقَدْ قَدِمُوا جَمِيعًا عَلَى مَلِكِ النَّاسِ. Everybody has come to the true sovereign being. مُخْبِتِينَ مُلَبِّينَ رَاجِينَ مُؤَمِّلِينَ. To discharge the rituals of pilgrimage. وَهَذَا سُلَيْمَانُ بْنُ عَبْدُ الْمَلِكِ. And amongst those present was the king of that time, the ruler of that time. يَتُوفُ بِالْبَيْتِ حَاسِرَ الرَّأْسِ حَافِيَ الْقَدَمَيْنِ. He also joins the people in performing the circumambulation. Bare head, bare feet. شأنه في ذلك كشأن بقية رعاياه من إخوته في الله. No different to the general masses. You could not differentiate and distinguish. Few weeks ago, Allah gave me the opportunity. We were there in Makkah Mukarramah. So Allah put a humble thought in my mind. We were sitting there on the mataf and the janazas were brought. I said to my colleagues, who said you cannot envy a man you don't know in your life? Here is a body, I don't know male or female. The late never heard of me and I never heard. But I'm green with envy for where your janazah has been performed. I'm green with envy for you, whoever you are. This is envy. For someone you've never heard of. You don't know where they lived, where they died. To the point that the body is brought, you're not aware who this person is. But I'm looking at this body and I said, I wish this comes my way. Like the Arabic poet said, إلهي نجني من كل ضيق فأنت إلهنا مولى الجميع وهب لي في المدينة مستقرا ورزقا ثم دفنا في البقيع. إلهي نجني من كل ضيق. Oh my kind Allah, save me from all trials and tribulations. فأنت إلهنا مولى الجميع. You are my Lord and the Lord of humanity in its entirety. هب لي في المدينة مستقرا. Favor me with an abode in the holy city of Medina. وَرِزْقًا. Provide me sustenance in the blessed city. ثُمَّ دَفْنًا فِي الْبَقِيعِ. And let me also be amongst those that rest beneath the soil of Baqi. By Allah, you look at the birds eating in Baqi and there is a tear of envy on those birds as well. So everybody comes to the haram performing the tawaf. Suleiman ibn Abdul Malik. With him are his two young sons. غُلَامَانِ كَطَلْعَةِ الْبَدْرِ بَهَاءً وَرُوَاءً وَكَأَكْمَامِ الْوَرْدِ نَضَارَةً وَطِيبًا. Young boys, impressive in their look, like the 14th full moon, like a budding flower. وَمَا أَنِ انْتَهَى مِنْ طَوَافِهِ. They complete the tawaf. حَتَّى مَالَ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِّنْ خَاصَّتِهِ. The king looks at those around him. his cabinet that are with him, Aina sahibukum, where is the honorable Sheikh? Where is the mentor? Where is the muhaddith? We would like to meet with him. فَأَشَارَ إِلَى النَّاحِيَةِ الْغَرْبِيَّةِ مِنَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. He pointed to the western side of Masjid al-Haram and he said the Sheikh is engaging in salah in that side. فَاتَّجَهَ الْخَلِيفَةِ. So the Khalifa modestly makes his way. وَمِنْ وَرَائِهِ وَلَدَاهُ. And with him are his two young sons. Another point we learn from here is that to take our young children to the feet of the scholars. Let the child grow up and say, I remember as a young boy, my father used to take me to this Mufti Sahab. I remember as a young boy, my father used to take me to this program. I remember as a young boy, we used to attend the Shab-e Jummah and we used to spend the night and listen to the talks there. Let these memories live with that child. इतना ये जहालत को छुपाना सीख लिया. आज आलिम कोई नहीं. ऐसे मौलाना आपने सही बात फरमाई. और मैं भी इसका इतना ही शिकार हूं जैसे किसी और उसका शिकार है. Today nobody has knowledge. I'm not generalizing everyone, I'm talking of myself. The only thing I learned in 7 years was to cover my ignorance. That's all I learned. We came out of Jahl Murakkab, that we were ignorant, and we were ignorant that we were ignorant, and now we realize we're ignorant. He who knows not and knows not, he knows not, he is a fool, abstain from him. For 7 years we learned that we are ignorant. So we came out of combined ignorance and now we are conscious that we're ignorant. That's about it. And he sat me down and he said, my son and my mom spoke to me and Allah reward them both. And they said, the journey is challenging, but the fruits are great. And sometimes I think of this here and I just cry and I say, Allah, it was only you at that time that held me at that turn and that twist. Otherwise, perhaps I don't know where I would have been. Salma ibn Dinar said, every day when the sun rises, a fresh attack is launched on every young boy. And in particular, the man learning Quran. And it is a battle that is fought on his chest. فَإِذَا غَلَبَ عِلْمُهُ هَوَاهُ. If he lifts that blanket, and he drops that phone, and he abandons that pornography, and he terminates that illicit relation, and he picks his Quran and he walks, he is a winner even if he didn't know his sabak that day. He is a winner. And by Allah, my young boy, may Allah echo my voice and take my message around the world. If you came and read your Quran, but you continued that illicit relation, you're a loser even if you knew your sabak. You're a loser even if you knew your sabak. Read the narration. Hafiz ibn Qayyim rahimahumullah has made mention of it in Zadul Ma'ad. I read it myself. Fudala ibn Umair ibn Mulawwih, he intended assassinating the Master sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's a long story, and then Nabi alayhi salam put his blessed hand and instantly his intentions were changed. And then after embracing Islam, he said, I passed by a woman with whom I used to chat and I used to have immoral discussions. So she called me on. Now you're walking back from a hifz class and you're chatting. You're walking back from a dars of hadith and you are in pornography. He said, I went with the intention to assassinate. And then the Master put his blessed hand and everything was swallowed. I embraced faith. And as I walked past, this woman invited me. فَقَالَتْ هَلُمَّ إِلَى الْحَدِيثِ فَقَالَتْ هَلُمَّ إِلَى الْحَدِيثِ فَقُلْتُ لَا يَأْبَى عَلَيْكِ اللَّهُ وَالْإِسْلَامُ لو رأيت محمدا وقبيله بالفتح يوم تكسر الأسنام لرأيت دين الله أضحى بينا والشرك يغشى وجهه الإظلام. I said, I used to speak to you and we used to chat, but now I have embraced the faith and this relation ends here and there. Finish. لا هن حل لهم ولا هم يحلون لهن لا هن حل لهم ولا هم يحلون لهن. When this verse was revealed, Umar radiallahu anhu had 2 non-Muslim wives. He ended it there and there. That's it. Today you say, no, I'm ending, but you know what, we can still be friends. We can still be friends. We don't have to be intimate, we can still be friends. Common courtesy. You know what common courtesy does, my brother. Anyway, وَهُنَا أَقْبَلَ عَلَيْهِ الْخَلِيفَةِ وَجَعَلَ يَسْأَلُهُ عَنْ مَنَاسِكِ الْحَجِّ مَنْسَكًا. The Sheikh is sitting, Suleiman ibn Abdul Malik starts engaging him. The word mansak in Arabic terminology in the Quran, in my humble research, has been used in 3 contexts. وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكَنَا in the rituals of Hajj. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنْسَكًا لِيَذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ, in the sacrifice of animals. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنْسَكًا هُمْ نَاسِكُوهُ فَلَا يُنَازِعُنَّكَ فِي الْأَمْرِ وَادْعُ إِلَى رَبِّكَ, in general worship. So the Khalifa engages him, and the Sheikh is just flowing with knowledge. لا يدع سبيلا لمستزيد. You can't add to what he gives. ويسند كل قول يقوله إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And everything he utters, he substantiates it, he verifies it, he authenticates it. ولما انتهى الخليفة من مساءلته, when the Khalifa ends the discussion, جزاه خيرا, he acknowledges him. وقال لولديه قوما, he tells his boys, stand up, we're going. So it's not after a match or after movies they're going out to eat, father and son. That is the quality time. The quality time is movie time. He tells the boys, let's stand up. So they stand up. Children still want to digest. Curiosity of the children. My father always tells us that on a lighter note, the boy sits in the bus and he sees this woman that is rather, obese. So he says, Mom, I must ask you about this auntie at home only? I mustn't ask in front of people, only at home I can ask you? Now that's typical children. They jump in the car, and the father says, listen, we're only going to get there when it's dark. Don't ask me how much time left to get there. Dad, when will it be dark? But how much time do we have? If I can off the commentary, I can embrace that child. I can embrace that child. At times the children will throw to you such curved balls, but they are harsh realities. They are harsh realities. The other day, a person's wife gave birth, so he brought the baby straight home. And he says, please, Maulana, I want you passionately to do the tahniq. So the children obviously observe the practice, so they understand. Now and then they also impersonate, and then they chew in a kajur and throwing it to their brother. And unfortunately, the things they impersonate, my middle son picked up the phone the other day. Yeah, you're speaking to Maulana. Okay, no problem, give talaq. I said, what did you hear, my son? Yeah, you're speaking, it's okay. No, you can give talaq. And he's not more than 10 years. So anyway, the brother came with his baby, gave the kajur and everything. So my little one, Talha, is telling me, but isn't when a baby is born, a pious person should put something in the mouth? I said, you're right, but you not. These are messages. These are messages. The only man who conquered everyone was my Nabi. You never got him off guard. There was never suddenly that you got him, because precisely his public and private life was on par. Ask my mother Aisha in seclusion, or ask the warriors in the battlefield. My Nabi only gave of guidance. He's the only man in the annals of human history who could give his spouse's blanket consent, go narrate any part of my intimate life. There's only guidance in it. Which man can say that to his wife? In fact, she'll throw a threat at him. And then he says, well, I also know. If you know about me, I know about you. So let's not walk that road. Let's not walk that road. So they say, let's walk. Anyway, they complete and they walk in towards Sa'i. وَفِيمَا هُمْ فِي طَرِيقِهِمْ إِلَى السَّعْيِ سَمِعَ الْفَتَيَانِ الْمُنَادِينَ يُنَادُونَ يا معشر الناس لا يفتي الناس في هذا المقام إلا عطاء بن أبي رباح. Father and two sons are walking, they're going towards Sa'i. Suddenly there is an announcer that announces, nobody has the authority to pronounce a verdict on Islamic jurisprudence in the sanctity of the Kaaba but His Majesty Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Now I'm saying to you, my young boy, whether you're listening to me here or over the airwaves, do you feel more thrilled when you walk in a club and the girls stand up for you and the boys bow down for you and the DJ dances for you? Or is this honor that you walk in the Kaaba and your name is announced there, that this is the man who will pronounce the verdicts? What is an honor at the house of Allah? فَالْتَفَتَ أَحَدُ الْغُلَامَيْنِ إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِ وَقَالَ كيف يأمر الناس بألا يستفتوا أحدا إلا عطاء ثم جئنا نحن نستفتي هذا الرجل الذي لم يأبه للخليفة ولم يوفه حقه من التعظيم. Dad, This is just like now, one after the other. First we need to speak to you about the man we went to. We don't even know who's he and what's his name. But how does this man enjoy the authority to pronounce a verdict that we have to restrict our questions to a single person? And by the way, who's the man and where he is? فقال سليمان لولده هذا الذي رأيته يا بني ورأيت ذلنا بين يديه هو عطاء بن أبي رباح صاحب الفتيا في المسجد الحرام ووارث عبد الله بن عباس في هذا المنصب الكبير. ثم أردف يقول يا بني تعلموا العلم فبالعلم يشرف الوضيع وينبه الخامل ويعلو الأرقاء على مراتب الملوك. He said, you know my son, that uncle we went to there, for the record, who doesn't have beauty, sitting there and everybody was around him, that is Ata ibn Abi Rabah. He is the official successor of the giant Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. He is the mufti of the haram. Learn, my children, learn. It is knowledge that will elevate you. Acquire knowledge, Allah will give you a kingdom and an empire without a throne. You will go beyond what your father has. So what did the opening comments I mentioned of Uwaiqis Makhzumi? And the hadith that I quoted, it's a hadith in Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, and I tied it up with a verse of the Quran. وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. Now if you unpack Arabic and go into the depth of the word nadara, my word, it is so deep, it is so profound, it is so all-embracing. Any and every dua that you possibly could want for yourself or your child. I mean, we know the mothers when their hearts flow for their children. Until today, our mothers, and we cry out for their du'as. Allah help you, guide you, protect you, make it easy for you. And my mom, may Allah reward her. You know, whenever there is a program, she would say, last night, boy, I got up and I consciously made dua for you. Wherever you're going, may Allah help you, inspire you. And the dua flows and flows and flows. And you just drench yourself with those supplications. The word nadara has encompassed everything. And it is the selection of the Master sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah guide, Allah protect, Allah keep him fresh, Allah keep him radiant, keep him active, keep him mobile. Who sami'a minna shay'an, sami'a minna shay'an. Who listens to my ahadith, listens to my Quran, preserves it. فَبَلَّغَهُ كَمَا سَمِعَهُ, and then diligently transmits it and conveys it. Now this young boy, wherever he will walk around, we say, you know, he got his mother's dua, he got his ustad's dua, imbibed the sciences of Islam and disseminate it, and you got the dua of your Nabi. فَرُبَّ مُبَلَّغٍ أَوْ عَامٍ سَامِعٍ. Take it to the generations ahead. Many ahead will preserve it more than those that have initially committed it. So the father tells him, this is my son, this is Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Now, Ata himself as a young boy was a slave unto a woman. But from his childhood, like Hazrat Mufti Sahab alluded to that young boy who took to Quran, there was that inherent spirit in him. There was this inclination in him. So he had this passion for knowledge as a young boy. And let's not suppress it. Let's not suppress it. You know, when a youngster comes home, and sometimes the children, again I'm giving a simple example, we tell the children every day. So last night I'm telling the young one, go read your Tabarak. Abu, you tell me, but I don't see you read. These are messages coming to us. Sometimes a child comes home with a lesson, oh, you must tell your ustad, he must teach you at home. Now, I know everything. So what happens is, you're not embracing this echo. You're not welcoming it. You're not harnessing this talent. But rather you're suppressing it. So now the child doesn't come with what he learns. Whether he picks up a message in an aqaid lesson, he picks up a message in a history lesson, some positive spiritual development that took place in the madrasa environment. If we don't engage what happened, what was you learned, any developments at the madrasa, that is constructive engagement. I marvel at the maturity of Ibn Abbas. I marvel and continue to marvel that when the Master sallallahu alaihi wasallam had Ibn Abbas mounted on the conveyance, the hadith says, Ya ghulam. Ghulam in Arabic means an immature child. But the message that was disseminated to him was of such a profound caliber that, trust me, you and I today cannot fully understand the depth. And the Master ﷺ is conveying it to Ibn Abbas as a young child. And obviously the Nabi of Allah dropped to his level. So what was the level of intellectual maturity of Ibn Abbas that he could understand before the age of puberty that whatever Allah has ordained will come my way? تعرف إلى الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة. Ibn Abbas, obey Allah in prosperity and He will respond to you in adversity. I mean, if my child only learns this year, if my child only learns this year that he must turn to Allah. One father mentioned this and it brought tears to my eyes. He said, I haven't tried to solve my children's problem because I haven't solved my problems properly. And even if I can solve theirs, is while I'm here. So what I'm hoping to see that before I die is to find all my children in their difficult moments turn to Allah. Then I'm ready to sigh with relief that my children know they're going to have turbulence in their marriages, they're going to have twists in with their families, financially, politically. Otherwise, life is riddled with challenges. So if my children can just pick up this secret, that in your problem you turn into Allah, for me, my children, I'm ready to take my last breath and move on. Anyway, he was a slave, so he used to devote a portion of his time to his mistress meaning his female master, not mistress by the connotations of today. Secondly, he obviously had to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قِسْمٌ جَعَلَهُ لِرَبِّهِ, where he would worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and قِسْمٌ جَعَلَهُ لِطَلَبِ الْعِلْمِ فأقبل على من بقي حيا من صحابة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وطفق ينهل من مناهلهم الثرة الصافية فأخذ عن أبي هريرة وعبد الله بن عباس وعبد الله بن الزبير وغيرهم من الصحابة الكرام حتى امتلأ صدره علما وفقها ورواية عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He went and he learned and he mastered and he studied and he enjoyed and he just went deeper and deeper. من همان لا يشبعان. Once you've acquired the taste, you just go deeper and deeper. There's no end to it. So when the female, his mistress, she had seen that, my slave has a dedication to deen, and he has other priorities, تخلت عن حقها فيه وأعتقت رقبته تقربا لله عز وجل لعل الله ينفع به الإسلام والمسلمين. When a person has talent in the sporting arena, then they say, we realize now he belongs to the world. He's no longer our school alone or our country. He's now a talent that has to go on the international platform. He goes in the broader world. This woman realized this man is an asset. Let me not hold him back. He's got a journey. Let him walk his road. She liberated him. He was only waiting for that liberation, and now his dream came true. ومنذ ذلك اليوم اتخذ عطاء بن أبي رباح المسجد الحرام بيتا له فجعله داره التي يأوي إليها ومدرسته التي يتعلم فيها ومصلاه الذي يأوي إليه. He made Masjid al-Haram his place. He would hang out there, he would eat there, he would acquire his knowledge there. حتى قال المؤرخون كان المسجد الحرام فراش عطاء ابن أبي رباح نحو من 20 عاما. Historians write, the young boy who lacked anything and everything that could bring him under the spotlight, that could give him fame and recognition, he made Masjid al-Haram his sleeping place for 20 years. وَقَدْ بَلَغَ التَّابِعِيُّ الْجَلِيلُ. He reached a level unprecedented. لَمْ يَنَلْهُ إِلَّا نَفَرٌ قَلِيلٌ مِّن مُعَاصِرِيهِ. Very few could reach to that level. روي أن عبد الله ibn Umar أما مكة معتمرا. The great giant Abdullah ibn Umar رضي الله عنه, he came to Mecca to perform Umrah. فأقبل الناس عليه يسألونه. People flocked him, swarmed him to learn from him. He said, إني لأعجب لكم يا أهل مكة أتجمعون لي المسائل وفيكم عطاء بن أبي رباح. That's rather strange. You people are asking me when you have a man of Ata at your shores, a man like Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Now what was the secret? What was the secret of Ata ibn Abi Rabah? They say the secret to his prosperity was, وَقَدْ وَصَلَ عَطَاءٌ إِلَى مَا وَصَلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ دَرَجَةٍ فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالدِّينِ بِسَبَبِ خَصْلَتَيْنِ اثْنَتَيْنِ. Now this is food for thought for every one of us. I might not have the opportunity, I might not have the conducive environment, I might not have the logistical structure to support me committing the Quran to memory. Although we've heard in the Quran there have been great people despite their age, that they have committed the Quran to memory. But this is a secret and it's a formula to the prosperity of any person. Number one, أحكم سلطانه على نفسه فلم يدع لها سبيلا لترتع فيما لا ينفعه. He had disciplined himself and he would never allow himself to immerse into luxury, into comfort, into benefit that would not, bring him any good. So he would not sit and indulge himself and cushion himself with all these extra things. Now we know there is an incident mentioned in Kitab al-Zuhud of Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, and I read it in other kitabs as well. Umar radiyallahu anhu goes to visit Abdullah ibn Umar, his son. فَوَجَدَ عِنْدَهُ لَحْمٌ. So he found that there was meat there. Now we all have our personal inclinations and choices, and we like to have this here and seafood and this meat and that meat. So Umar radiyallahu anhu said, مَا هَذَا? What is this meat here? He said, اشتهيته. I was feeling to eat. In simple language, I was listening. That's the tone a youngster would use. So Umar radiyallahu anhu rebuked his son and he said, أَوَكُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتَ شَيْئًا أَكَلْتَهُ أَوَكُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتَ شَيْئًا أَكَلْتَهُ كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ صَرَفًا أَن يَأْكُلَ كُلَّمَا اشْتَهَاهُ. So since when is this the norm that every time you feel for something you devour it and consume it? If that's your attitude, it's sufficient to consider you extravagant. There is a narration in Hayatul Sahaba, Nabi alayhi salam went with Abdullah ibn Umar into the orchard of one Sahabi, picked up a date and ate it. So Nabi alayhi salam told Ibn Umar, join me. He said, La ashtahi. Oh Nabi of Allah, I don't have any inclination for the time. Nabi alayhi salam said, well, for you it's a matter of inclination, or otherwise, for me 4 days nothing edible has gone in my belly. كيف بك يا ابن عمر إذا بقيت في قوم يخبئون رزق سنتهم. Ibn Umar, a time will come, an individual from my ummah will stock the provisions of 1 year. Are we not the living statistics and the living prophecy of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam's hadith? So the first thing that he had, discipline over himself in terms of how we eat. And if we look at, and by and large, who can claim to say that he has not been gripped by the web of luxury? At some point or the other, it has enveloped us, it has engulfed us, it has paralyzed us, and it has weakened us. Reflect for a moment, the Master sallallahu alaihi wasallam is parting with Mu'adh ibn Jabal, who is a'lamuhum bil halal wal haram. It's the final point of separation. Yet the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, إِيَّاكَ وَالتَّنَعُّمْ فَإِنَّ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ لَيْسُوا بِالْمُتَنَعِّمِينَ. The last advice with which I leave you and I whisper it, keep yourself away from the extra luxuries, because the chosen servants of Allah don't immerse themselves in luxury. So this was the first secret. This was the first secret to the prosperity of Ata ibn Abi Rabah. The second thing, أَنَّهُ أَحْكَمَ سُلْطَانَهُ عَلَى وَقْتِهِ فَلَمْ يَهْدِرْهُ فِي فُضُولِ الْكَلَامِ. Complete discipline of time. A Muslim has a timetable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not tell us perform salah for 2 hours in the morning. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. Allah governed our life and our day by time. Discipline is essential. It's integral. It is paramount. It is imperative. Without that, a Muslim cannot function. If there's no discipline and there's no timetable in our life, then simple tasks also become difficult. So he had complete control over his time. Muhammad ibn Suqa, أحد علماء الكوفة وعبادها, one of the great giants of Kufa. One day a delegation of people came to visit him like we would go and visit the pious. So they asked him for advice. He said, ألا أسمعكم حديثا لعله ينفعكم كما نفعني. Let me share with you something that I once heard and it benefited me. And who gave me this advice? Ata ibn Abi Rabah. What did he say to me? He said to me, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا كَانُوا يَكْرَهُونَ فُضُولَ الْكَلَامِ. The people that came before us, they were very particular about their time and they would never indulge in futile discussions. So I said, unpack that for me. وَمَا فُضُولُ الْكَلَامِ عِنْدَهُمْ. What would they determine and define as useless, in vain talk? Because that's also a question, Today, unfortunately, people don't pick up messages also. People don't pick up a hint also. So sometimes, as much as you want to be diplomatic, you have to be explicit because the man doesn't get the message correctly. There was a brother who once had a dream, and a very regular musalli and everything, but Allah gave hidayah to one and all. He never used to keep a beard. And I always used to try and encourage him, inshallah, try and keep a beard. Allah guide. I'm not saying that if you have a beard, you're better, but this is obviously one of the most emphasized practices of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anyway, he had a particular dream. He asked me for an interpretation. I bounced it off one of my scholars. And he said, tell the brother he is omitting a very, very important practice of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now I knew his life. He was conscious of his salah, particular about his dealings, diligent with his zakat. But in terms of his appearance, the beard was lacking. So I could put two and two together and I got the message. I said, listen, I got an interpretation. The message is quite loud and clear. It's basically there is a very, very important, every sunnah for that matter is important that you are omitting in your life. He said, yeah, no, I know, I need to get married. I said, okay, now I realize sometimes you've got to be explicit. Could you, there was nothing to read here. It was so explicit. So what do we define as futile talk? There is also another topic because you could call many meaningless discussions as futile. And often we say, we can debate and we can have a lengthy debate on the benefits of playing a game. But I'm sure you comment that there is no benefit in viewing a game. Now people, youngsters, no, Maulana, you learn techniques. When you tell the youngsters, you learn techniques. I said, no, man, this is now coming out with something else altogether. So he said, what is the definition of futile talk? He said, كانوا يعدون كل كلام ما عدا كتاب الله عز وجل أن يقرأ ويفهم وحديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يروى ويدرى أو أمرا بمعروف ونهيا عن منكر أو أن تتكلم بحاجتك ومعيشتك التي لا بد لك منها. Either you discuss in Quran or a hadith of Nabi alayhi salam, or inviting to good or forbidding from evil, or you're speaking about the reality of life. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. There are some important deals you need to strike, provided everything is above board, you're doing things in the correct way. That gets included amongst your lawful, legitimate, permissible, constructive discussions. And then Ata ibn Abi Rabah said, and this is food for thought, أَمَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَحَدُنَا لَوْ نُشِرَتْ عَلَيْهِ صَحِيفَتُهُ فَوَجَدَ أَكْثَرَ مَا فِيهَا لَيْسَ مِنْ أَمْرِ دِينِهِ وَلَا أَمْرِ دُنْيَا. أَمَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَحَدُنَا. Is this not a point of embarrassment? Is not this the height of misfortune that you appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your book of deeds is presented, and that which constitutes the greater portion of your book does not involve your spiritual matters nor your worldly matters. It's trivial, insignificant, meaningless things that are unrelated to deen or dunya. Now I want to try and wrap up. I know time is against us. Amongst the profound impact of this young boy, and that's what we're hoping from this child inshallah, and his likes, that as he has brought a family together, we need the spirit of Quran to have that ripple effects around the family, community, country, and around the world. It must make that positive impact on the life of everyone. Ata ibn Abi Rabah had a profound impact. He had a profound impact. And amongst the very, very unique stories, which is known to scholars, but perhaps some of us have not read about it, is that there was a simple person who had a hair salon, who used to cut hair, and he used to attend the gatherings of Ata ibn Abi Rabah. And on that, Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi said, أخطأت في 5 أبواب من المناسك فعلمنيها حجام. Abu Hanifa, Sayyid al-Fuqaha, Ra'is al-Mujtahideen, he said, I learned 5 things at the hand of an ordinary man shaving hair in Mecca. وذلك أني أردت أن أحلق رأسي لأخرج من الإحرام. I was in the state of ihram and I wanted to shave my hair to exit from the condition of ihram. فأتيت حلاقا. So I came to a barber there, a man who had his hair salon. I said, become tahliqu li ra'si. how much would you charge me to shave my hair? He said, اجلس النسك لا يشارة فيه وأعط ما يتيسر له. In the matters of ibadat, you don't discuss finance. Sit down, whatever is available, you give it to me. فَخَجِلْتُ وَجَلَسْتُ. I felt embarrassed. I'm the Abu Hanifa, and he's telling me you mustn't speak money. I sat down. غَيْرَ أَنِّي جَلَسْتُ مُنْحَرِفًا عَنِ الْقِبْلَةِ. But in that excitement and nervousness, I sat in the direction contrary to Qibla. فَأَوْمَأَ إِلَيَّ بِأَنِ اسْتَقْبِلِ الْقِبْلَةِ. He nudged me and he said, hey brother, face Qibla. فَفَعَلْتُ وَازْدَدْتُ خَجَلًا عَلَى خَجَلِي. And I didn't know where to put my head out of embarrassment. I'm feeling more ashamed of myself. Then I told him, you can start shaving my hair. ثم إني أعطيته رأسي من الجانب الأيسر ليحلقه فقال أدر شقق الأيمن. So I said, start cutting, and in doing so, in my excitement, one brother was performing his nikah. Before I could offer the girl, he said, I accepted. I said, relax my brother, she is yours. She's yours. Nobody takes her away. Excitement, people told him, when the Maulana says, then you must say yes and say nakahtuha. So he programmed himself, preparing himself. I had not even made the hijab. I accept her. My brother, she's yours. Nobody takes her. In that excitement, I said, cut my hair from here. And I pointed to the left side of my head. So he said, give me the right side of your head. I said, now I'm not going to talk anything here, because anything I talk, you know what, it's another minus to me. So I kept quiet. So he said, Mali araka sakitan kabbir. Why you keeping quiet? You must say Allahu Akbar, you in ihram. So I started saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. فَقُمْتُ لِأَذْهَبْ. I stood up, I said, let me go. He said, أَيْنَ تَمْضِي? Where are you off to? I said, أُرِيدُ أَنْ أَمْضِي إِلَى رَحْلِي. I need to go meet up with my family and with my caravan. He said, صَلِّ رَكْعَتَيْن ثُمَّ أَمْضِي حَيْثُ تَشَاء. Perform 2 rakat salah and then you can go. I performed 2 rakat salah. فَقُلْتُ فِي نَفْسِي. I said to myself, a man running a salon, a barber, cutting hair, normally it's a typical place to get the news and update the news, Because the guy who came before, he dropped off his bird, you drop off your bird, the thing goes forward. So that's where you get, it's a corny, street corner shop there where you can update yourself. Or sometimes you can see on all the pillars and the headlines. But this hajjam and this halak, subhanallah, profound, and just pearls of wisdom. So I said, if you don't mind, min ayna laka ma amartani bihi min al-manasik. My brother, and where and how and when and who? How did all this happen? He said, I attend the gatherings of Ata ibn Abi Rabah. فَأَخَذْتُ عَنْهُ وَوَجَّهْتُ إِلَيْهِ النَّاسِ. I sit there every day when I'm coming, and this young man has taught me so much, and I learned this. This barber, sitting at the hands and at the feet of this Ata, empowers and motivates the giant Abu Hanifa in the field of fiqh. I'm saying, my young boy, your journey is long, your talent is great, the road is open, who stops you? This is a celebrity. Allah brought the world to his feet. But the true are those that do not fall prey to this. One of my scholars mentioned, he said, study the biographies of all the pious, and 2 things make them common. Zuhud fil dunya and khulus fil amal. Study all our pious ancestors. Disinclination to this world and sincerity in their endeavors. And this made their cause prosper. If these 2 ingredients become absent, or one becomes absent, then the cause will not prosper. And trust me, if these 2 things are present, even after our death, that legacy will continue, because the building bricks of that organization was ikhlas and zuhud. So the kings used to pride themselves by having ata by their place. وَلَقَدْ دَعَاهُ الْخُلَفَاءُ إِلَى مُصَاحَبَتِهِمْ فَلَمْ يُجِبْ دَعْوَتَهُم. But he used to decline. Occasionally, if he seen there was benefit for the Muslims, he would seize the opportunity. And 1-2 incidents and I wrap up. Uthman ibn Ata al-Khurasani says, انطلقت مع أبي نريد هشام ibn Abdul Malik. I went with my father. We wanted to meet the ruler of the time, Hisham ibn Abdul Malik. فلما غدونا قريبا من دمشق, when we got close to Dimishq, إذا نحن بشيخ على حمار أسود عليه جبة بالية وقلنسوة لازقة وركاباه من خشب As we come in close, I seen this Sheikh mounted on a donkey. He was clad in a very strange way, dark-skinned, not very impressive in his look. Allah forgive me, for the moment, ضحكت منه. I started laughing. And Allah puts a thought in my mind now, my brother. If you won't take your child to sit at the pious, then he would laugh at the garb of Nabi alayhi salam. He will see the turban and he will frown. He will see the loincloth and he will frown. He will see the sajda mark and he will frown. And that will be laughable for him. But to see a man spiked up with tattoos who looks like a monster, that won't make him laugh. That is something he will envy. I'm saying remove religion from the equation. Call all sane humans with salimut taba, with balanced understanding and sane logic, and then look in a mirror and decide what is this. وَلَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ. Read this verse and then understand. He said, for a moment, my father told me, Uskut. هذا سيد فقهاء الحجاز. هذا سيد فقهاء الحجاز عطاء ibn Abi Rabaa. My son, stop laughing. This is the giant Ata ibn Abi Rabaa. So I just held myself back. فَلَمَّا قَرُبَ مِنَّا. As he drew close, نَزَلَ أَبِي عَنْ بَغْلَتِهِ وَنَزَلَ هُوَ عَنْ حِمَارِهِ. My father dismounted, he dismounted. تَعَانَقَا وَتَسَاءَلَا. They embraced one another. They had a little discussion. ثُمَّ عَادَا فَرَكِبَا. They mounted and they resumed. حَتَّى وَقَفَ عَلَى بَابِ Hisham ibn Abdul Malik. They come to the door. When Hisham realized that Ata was there, immediately he opened, the king. And my father went in and Ata went in. I was quite curious to know what unfolded. When my father came back, I said, Dad, what unfolded? He said, لَمَّا عَلِمَ هِشَامٌ أَنَّ عَطَى بِالْبَابِ بَادَرَ وَاللَّهِ مَا دَخَلْتُ إِلَّا لِسَبَبِهِ. When the king knew that Ata was at the door, he got up from his throne and gave him a royal welcome. And me, I cashed in, I was riding on his back. Nobody wanted to look at your father, they looked at Ata. I said, Dad, what happened? He said, he walked in, وَكَانَ فِي الْمَجْلِسِ أَشْرَافٍ. I swear by Allah, Deen will give you honor. Remember what I said in my opening comments? That woman told her son, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْفَعُ بِهِ الْخَسِيسَ وَيُتِمُّ بِهِ النَّقِيسَ. Allah will perfect the defected, elevate the downtrodden. Allah will preserve, Allah will protect, Allah will give honor, Allah will give respect. He said, وَكَانَ فِي الْمَجْلِسِ أَشْرَافٍ. They were dignitaries sitting in the gathering. فَسَكَتُوا. Everybody observed silent. And the Khalifa of the time came close, sat him down. مَا حَاجَتُكَ يَا أَبَا مُحَمَّدٍ. Your Majesty, your presence, we appreciate your coming. Can I be of any assistance to you? He said, yes. أهل الحرمين أهل الله وجيران رسوله تقسم عليهم أرزاقا. You know what? The people residing in the two holy lands, they are the visitors of Allah and His Nabi. Why don't you take the responsibility to see to their finances and to see to their provisions? He said, it's a done deal. اكتب يا غلام لأهل مكة والمدينة بعطاياهم وأرزاقهم لسنة. Write this, that the state and the government and the Khilafah will see and provide to everyone for 1 year. Now look at this. Now this is another very important thing. Many of our people whom Allah has given strategic positions, political or otherwise, are we putting our clout and our weight for the cause of the Muslims or to promote my personal agenda? I've said this and I'll say it again. If you're serving on a Muslim board or a Muslim school, as long as your children are part of the school, I'm afraid you have vested interests. But the day you'll continue serving, even when you don't have one grandchild there, then you represent the Ummah. Then you represent any child walking there. It will equally pain you to see a young boy with a drug in that corner if it was your own child. But the day you reside, once your children and nephews are over, then I'm afraid we have abused those platforms. Ata never come in there with a personal agenda. And the world is desperate for such people. Those that are in strategic positions who further the cause of Islam and the Muslim Ummah. He said, any other request? He said, yes. أهل نجد أصل العرب وقادة الإسلام ترد فيهم فضول صدقاتهم. What about the people of Najd and Hijaz? Why don't you take financial care of them? He said, يا غلام اكتب بأن ترد فيهم فضول صدقاتهم. See that you can arrange to the finances and it is given to them. He said, that is done. Anything else? هل من حاجتك يا أبا محمد أهل الثغور يقفون في وجوه عدوكم يقتلون من رام المسلمين بشر فَإِنَّهُمْ إِنْ هَلَكُوا ضَاعَتِ الثُّغُورِ. Remember the people protecting your boundaries. They are in a vulnerable position. You should take care of their families and protect it. He said, "O slave, write it and record it." Anything else? He said, "Yes, أَهْلُ ذِمَّتِكُمْ لَا يُكَلَّفُونَ مَا لَا يُطِيقُونَ." One side the king were listening, one side the scholars were advising. These were our glory days. The non-Muslims living under the Islamic empire. What measures do you have to give them respect and dignity? Remember, it's your duty that you do not burden them, you do not overtax them. He said, "Uktub li ahli dhimma bi alla yukallafu ma la yutiqun." Right? And put this and engrave this into the constitution, that non-Muslims discharging indemnity taxes, living within our shores will enjoy respect and dignity. He then looked at Ata again, "Hal min hajatin ghayriha." He's not talking of himself, his children, his degree, nothing. Anything else? He said, "Yes." What is it? I'm going to wrap up on this. He said, "My last advice to you, اتق الله في نفسك يا أمير المؤمنين واعلم أنك خلقت وحدك وتموت وحدك وتحشر وحدك وتحاسب وحدك ولا والله ما معك ممن ترى أحد فأكب هشام ينكت في الأرض وهو يبكي." My last message is to you, Amir al-Mu'mineen, fear Allah. Fear Allah. You will die alone. You'll be buried alone. All this entourage and cavalcade and those saluting and greeting you, none will join you in your grave. None will stand before Allah. All this around you, this glory, this respect, nothing will come your way. So he's narrating this to his son. He said he left it on the spiritual note. فَقَامَ عَطَاءٌ. Ata then stood up. فَقُمْتُ مَعَهُ. And I also stood up. فَلَمَّا بَلَغْنَا عِنْدَ الْبَابِ. When we got to the door, إِذَا رَجُلٌ قَدْ تَبِعَهُ بِكِيسٍ. A person came with an envelope, with a packet. And he said, "Inna Amir al-Mu'mineen ba'atha laka bihada." Amir al-Mu'mineen has given you this gift. He opened it, there was money. He said, "Hayhata, hayhat, hayhata, hayhat. This is not what I have come for. Ma as'alukum alayhi min ajrin, in ajriya illa ala rabbil alameen. فوالله إنه دخل على الخليفة وخرج من عنده ولم يشرب قطرة ماء." By Allah, he came. He gave profound advice. He disseminated pearls of wisdom. Leave taking favors or money. He refused taking a sip of water. This is the legacy he left behind. Allah gave him an age of 100 years. وَمَعَ فَوْقَ ذَلِكَ 70 حَجَّةً, and 70 hajj to his credit. We make dua to the Almighty Allah, may He take this boy from strength to strength. And may Allah create in our lives many other ata. And may Allah let this institution prosper. May Allah imbibe within us the reality of what was said. And make us all true ambassadors and soldiers of deen. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.